Today we are going back to the basics. We are going to do an in-depth beginner-friendly makeup routine. You know, you're a beginner in makeup and you want to learn how to beat your face. You want to learn how to slay your face card. Well, that's why I'm here. So let's jump right to this video. Today we are starting off with brows. Obviously, I am a brow first type of girl. And if you do not do your brows first, well, that's your choice. But I like to go in with my brows. And for brows, I only use three products: a brush, a brow brush, brow wax or glue, and eyeshadow. I do not use brow pencil to sculpt or fill in my brows. I'm just going in with brow gel. Brow wax, actually, they are different things. But I'm going in with brow wax and I'm just applying this, obviously, on my brows. The brush end, I'm just going to brush up my brow hairs. This just gives them shape and makes it really easy for me to fill them in. I don't even do too much my brows because I'm naturally blessed with brow hairs that already have a nice shape. So this is mostly all I do to my brows. Normally I would go in with an angled brush like this and an eyeshadow. I always go into matte black eyeshadow to just fill in my brows, but I don't really feel like I have to fill in my brows today, or do I? Maybe just the tails a little bit. Oh, that was too much eyeshadow. Yeah, just to add a little bit of length to the tail of my brows, but that's just it, I think. Yeah, that is going to be it for my brows. Let's clean them up. To clean up my brows, I always go with a concealer that's slightly lighter than my skin tone. Sometimes I go in with a concealer that's exactly my skin tone, or I go with a shade darker, but today I'm just going to go in with one that is slightly lighter, and this is exactly how I carve out my brows. This is actually the first time doing my brows on camera. Even on my TikTok, I've never done my brows on camera. I just drag it down to my eyelid. In this way, I'm also prepping my eyes, although I will not be doing any eyeshadow today. Both brows have been cleaned up. I'm going to go in with a beauty blender and I'm just going to dab out the eyeshadow on my lid. Brows are done. The next step is to prime. If you are a beginner in makeup and you're confused on what type of primers to use, my primer is misbehaving. Okay, what type of primer to use? If you have oily skin, obviously a mattifying primer. I have oily skin. Okay, if you have dry skin, I will recommend a hydrating primer to just hydrate your skin and get rid of dry patches. Next step is optional, but since I have oily skin, it's a step that I cannot skip. It's not optional to me. Okay, I like to go in with my setting powder, and I like the one that's exactly my skin tone. I'm going to dip the powder puff in the powder, and I'm going to set my T-zone with this. I do this every single time I get glam because it keeps my oils away from coming onto the surface easily. This just helps my makeup last longer, and I put it underneath my eyes too to avoid creasing, and honestly it works. Also a little bit on my brows just to set them in place. Base is ready. Now let's dive into this glam. Okay, we've done brows, we've prepped our skin. Let's dive into this face card. So I'm going to start off with my foundation, and I'm just going to go in with a pump on the back of my hand. If you have a makeup palette, you can use a makeup palette. I don't have a makeup palette. And with my fingers, I'm just going to distribute my foundation on my cheeks everywhere I did not apply that setting powder, which are only my cheeks. I did not apply my foundation on my forehead or in my T-zone. This is just how I do my makeup. Okay, if you want to apply your foundation everywhere on your face, honey, you are fine. That is totally your choice. You are free to do that, but over here I do not. Blend out your foundation. You can either go in with a beauty blender or a brush, and I go in with anyone, but today I'm going to go in with a brush. I'm just going to dab that foundation out. You can see that shade match, and like I said, I only apply my foundation on my cheeks, just in the outskirts, outer area, I don't know, but just on this part of my face. You can also bring it down to your neck if you want to, but I'm not really going out today, so I'm just going to apply this on my cheeks, and that's just it. Now that I've applied my foundation, the next step is cream, bronzer or contour. And you can go in with it. You don't need to buy an actual cream bronzer. Okay, you can go in with the darkest shade of your concealer, which is what I'm going to do today. And this is exactly where I apply my bronzer, right on my cheeks, my jawline, my forehead, and I also apply it on my nose to snatch up this fat nose of mine, just right here, and then take it up a little bit to connect the bronzer to the eye. My camera is here, to the eyes. Before I blend out the bronzer, I am going to conceal. It's time to cover up this T-zone, and to conceal I go right in my mouth area. In this area I apply the concealer that is light, obviously that's slightly lighter than my skin tone, and then underneath my eyes right here, and a tad bit on my forehead. This is the placement for my concealer, and then I go in with the brightest concealer that I own and just right in the inner corner, just place it right here. And this concealer is very pigmented, so a little bit goes a very a very long way. With my old dusty brush, I'm going to blend out the bronzer while my concealer sits. Snatch this jawline up, forehead, and obviously other areas where I bronze. I have the habit of forgetting to blend out my nose contour. Thank God I just remembered it now. So I'm going to pinch my, normally I should buy a tiny brush for this, but brushes are expensive, okay? I don't have money. So I'm just going to pinch this brush and I'm going to blend it out. Just like this. And plus it works, okay? If it isn't broke, don't fix it. And connecting this shade to the eyes just give the eyes a little bit of dimension. You can see we are not doing eyeshadow today, so the bronzer will act as our eyeshadow, the cream and the powder bronzer. And back in with our dusty beauty blender, I'm just going to blend out the concealer in my mouth area. You see that coverage and you see that pigment? This is why you let your concealer set before you blend it out. Blend out the concealer underneath my eyes. I'm going to blend out this shade first before I move on to this shade, because I like the ombre that it gives underneath my eyes. I do not like mixing the two shades together because I just don't like the way it looks. So this is exactly how I blend out my under eye concealer, and I try my best not to disturb this other shade. I'm going to go in with a beauty blender on a stick to blend out my under eye concealer. I actually ordered a concealer brush where I ordered the brush set, and the concealer brush is also among the sets, so it will not be here until the end of the month. So I have to, and it's early August as I'm filming this though, so I have to wait a while for that brush set to arrive. And by the way, if you're not already subscribed by now, what are you doing? Because I know you've learned a lot in this short time, so subscribe. Just going to blend. I like to use this because it keeps the coverage and it keeps my concealer exactly where I want it. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I actually go in with a dry beauty blender. I do not use a dry beauty sponge because it sucks up too much product, way too much product. Okay, so the base has been blended out. Let's apply cream blush. Okay, it's time to put color on this face. I like to apply cream blush, or you can go in with liquid blush. And to apply my blush, it is best you put your blush on the high point of your face. If this is a beginner makeup tutorial, okay, so I'm going in for you guys. You want to apply your blush on the high point of your face. Do not smile when you apply blush. When you smile, right, your face goes up like this. But then you blend it out and you drop your face, you look old. Do you want to look old? Do you want to be 20 and looking 50? Exactly, you don't want it. So apply your blush higher so that by the time you blend it out, it's giving poker face, it's giving face card, never declines. Blend out my brush. I like to go with an angled brush. Like I use this brush for only you can see I use it for only blush because it's literally colored. But I use it for both creams and both powders because I love the way the angle just hugs my cheeks. So I'm just going to blend out my blush. If you are scared of cream blush, you can just use powder blush. You don't have to use cream blush. So if you're scared of cream blush, you can just skip this step, powder, and then go in with your powder blush. Right? Powder blush later. I always get blush and brush confused. They are literally tongue twisters, you guys. Okay, to set my face, a powder puff will always do the trick. Okay, a powder puff will always do the trick. You can get a powder puff anywhere. Just it's really affordable. And I like to tap off the powder in the palm of my hand, and this is how I place. Well, this is how I apply my powder underneath my eyes. You want to place it right here. I like to start from this area, and then I blend it up onto my under eye. In this way, the powder puff is already more smoothened before it reaches my under eye. I see the difference between right here and here. Here it looks so blurred, smooth, and filtered, and this is giving shiny. Okay. To set the rest of my face, a big fluffy brush will always do it for me. And I'm just going to dab this gently on everywhere I did not apply the first powder, which are my cheeks area and my forehead. I also like to go in a little bit on my brows because it just lightens up the brow. Face is all set. Let's add a little bit of dimension back to this face, and to do that I'm going to bronze. It's time for powder bronzer. If you do not have a powder bronzer, or you can't find a bronzer that's your exact shade, I'd recommend going in with a pressed setting powder or a pressed powder foundation that's darker than your exact skin tone, and this will just give you dimension. You see how dark that I like to go heavy on my bronzer. Okay, I just love the way it looks. I apply my powder bronzer exactly where I applied my cream bronzer, my liquid bronzer. Girl, I cannot talk. My liquid bronzer I apply on my cheeks. I always apply it on my jawline. I'm trying to get snatched. Okay, if you don't have money for jaw filler like me, this is a good way to snatch up your jawline. And a lot of bronzer on my forehead. Okay, this is non-negotiable. I must always go heavy with my bronzer on my forehead. Contour my nose, I like to go in with a tapered brush like this, going back in with my bronzer just lightly because this is a very pigmented bronzer. I'm just going to go exactly where I applied that liquid bronzer, and I'm going to take it all the way to my eyelid. This acts as eyeshadow from your eyelid, connecting it down to your nose. Let's add a little bit of color to this face, and I'm going to go in with powder blush a little bit on my brush, and exactly where I applied my cream blush, just going to apply this shade right on my cheek. And I use the same brush for cream and powder because it just gives pigment. Okay, the brush still being a bit damp from the cream blush just clings onto the powder blush and gives it more pigment. You don't need 50 brushes for your makeup step. Okay, you can use one brush for a lot of things. Blush blindness, definitely. Let's tone down this blush, and for that I'm going to go in with the third setting powder of the video, and I use this one. It can also brighten my under eyes. I'm going to go back in with the puff I used in setting my under eyes, and I'm just going to use this to sculpt the nose contour and tone down the blush and also brighten my under eye, killing three birds with one stone. Just right here, you sculpt your nose, and then you take it right on top of the blush. While the bake is sitting, let's go in with mascara. I actually do not use false lashes, although I want to go into lash extensions, but then my eyes are sensitive, so I don't know. Okay, I really don't know, but I'm going to go in with my mascara while the bake is sitting, and lightly on your lashes. Do not go heavy with your mascara because it's very hard to take off once it transfers. Mascara has been applied. Let's take off this bake. I'm just going to go back in with the brush I used in setting my face, and I'm just going to dab in the powder. I'm not going to wipe it away. I just want to dab it in. I see how the blush has been toned down. I'm sorry, but my makeup skills are just too good. They are just too good. Oh my god. Oh my god. For the under eyes, I'm going to go back in with my puff, and I'm going to I'm going to push the powder in, because we do not waste powder where I'm from. Plus, makeup is expensive. Okay, you want to bake and then wipe it off. Let me say you get money to buy another powder. Well, maybe you're rich, but I'm just saying makeup is expensive. So we are going to use every single one we have. Okay, let's finish up the eyes. I'm going to go in with an eyeliner and a retractable eyeliner for my waterline. because it gives your eyes a little bit of razzle dazzle. Okay, that's not what I was going to say, but I forgot what I was going to say. But anyways, I'm going to do it off camera because I am not good at doing my wing liner on camera. Eyeliner has been done. Let's line our waterline. I'm going to just line a little bit. Well, this step is optional. Okay, as a beginner, I don't want you to poke your eyes out. Okay, I don't want you guys to go blind. So you can choose to do this step or you can choose to skip it. But this is also a must for me in my makeup routine. I really cannot do my makeup without doing this step. And also, I have a video about my holy grail steps on my TikTok and on my IG. So if you're not following me there, you know what to do. Go over there now. You can see the difference between this eye and this one. This one is giving body. She's giving cat's eye. She's giving a cat's eye and fox eye, the same thing. Anyways, she's giving body. She's giving wide awake. This one is giving, oh my god, clean girl. I don't like too much makeup, but I like too much makeup over here. Okay, I don't do clean girl. She's a girl who does clean girl makeup on TikTok, but still, I don't give clean girl. I give full glam. I give full beats. I give body. Okay, so eyes are done. Base is almost complete. Like, look at my face. No filter. Look at my face card. Like, I'm just too good at this makeup thing. Okay, let's do lips. I'm going to go in with a, I say nude girl. I'm going to go with a brown lip liner and I'm going to line my lips. Okay, I'm thinking a cute pink lip combo. Like, who doesn't love a good pink lip combo? Lips have been lined. I know I went crazy with my lip liner. I always go crazy with my lip liner. Okay, I'm trying to give dimension to these lips. I'm going to go with my pink lip gloss. This gloss is really pigmented. Okay, a tad bit goes a long way. Just going to apply this right at the center of my lip. I'm not going to touch my lip liner with this. You can leave it like this if you want to, but I'm extra. Okay, I cannot leave it like this. I like to go in with a clear gloss to make everything look glassy. There is something about a clear gloss on your lips that just elevates the whole lip combo. Like, look at this part of my lip and look at this part. Follow my tips. Okay, you want to look like a baddie, follow my tips, girl. Lips are done. Base is basing. Face is given. Girl, look at the finished look. Look at this. Look at the finished makeup look. Like, why aren't you already subscribed? Because look at this base. The base is basing. Okay, anyways, this is the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Okay, I will ask me any questions you want. I will answer you. And also, do not forget to follow me on every other platform. You want a face card like this, then you better follow the tutorial step by step. So this is the finished look and I'll see you guys in my next video.